Good evening and welcome to the Midnight Sages podcast. This is Ruben, and I'm here with Nick.
Hey, this is Nick.
And unfortunately, Wade could not make it here with us tonight, but we do have two special guests with us. We have Rufino
Hey, what's going on, guys?
and Eric.
Hello.
And today, our topic will be our current financial status in today's society. Is middle class still a thing, or is it just extinct now? What you guys take on that?
Ooh, interesting. Are we talking about post-COVID or pre-COVID?
Well, if it's today, I'm going to say it's post-COVID.
Right. So are we still living in COVID? Or are we post?
According to our government, COVID will be done. I believe it's June.
So yeah, Biden, I think, has said he's going to be reenacting or saying that we are out of the pandemic, that we're no longer in that era of time. So
Not true, because I just went
Yay.
to the Social Security office to get my Social Security card, and they still have me to mask up.
yeah, I think you're still going to run into it here and there.
Yes.
I see it a lot at the grocery stores,
But with that though, I think our lockdowns,
Mhm.
our quarantines,
We're
I think
done.
they're done.
We're done.
Yeah,
We're
they're
done
gonna be
with
done.
mandating masks and vaccines, all of that good stuff or whatever. But yeah, so I think that's a great question. Like, what are we considering middle class? You know what I mean? Are we talking? I know that they've taken a recent poll that 60% of the people that are earning six figures, $100,000 or more, are reporting living paycheck to paycheck. That's pretty alarming when you think about it. Like $100,000 is a lot of money in today's era.
So, would you say
right?
inflation went up because of COVID or after COVID?
So the thing about inflation is that we're seeing stuff that economics don't really know what to do with, especially like when we're talking about housing and stuff like that.
I think with the lockdowns and nobody going to work has a big thing to do with that
Right?
too.
Yeah, you have low wage paying jobs offering people $15 an hour to flip burgers, and now they're passing that on to the consumer, and a lot of people are raising rents, things of that nature. So you're seeing a lot of that go on right now.
I did a few years ago. I had an argument with a coworker about minimum wage,
Oh,
and
This
he
is
was
a
a
touchy
big
subject.
he was a big
raise the minimum
yes,
wage.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what country that is that they say he kept bringing up. I think it was like what was it, Denmark or something like that?
It was either Denmark or it was probably Sweden.
Sweden. It might have been where
Yeah.
their minimum wage is like $20 an hour,
But
and they didn't pass that cost on to the consumers. And
there's about 5 million people in Denmark.
exactly.
About roughly the size of Phoenix.
So my thing is, like, as a former business owner,
Mhm.
I couldn't pay my workers above minimum wage without raising my rates.
Yeah.
And I did work for a fast food joint here that he was franchised. So they had an owner. He was just doing business under that
Under the
business.
franchise.
Yeah, it was he had the franchise tag. And it was the same thing. Like, I saw his books because I was a manager, so I knew what he was making. I knew everything. And I knew that he wouldn't be able to make it if we had to raise minimum wage.
Mhm.
And that was my argument with my coworker back then was, if you own a small business, you're going to have to raise your rates. You're going to have to raise everything
Correct.
from your product to compensate for that extra wage.
So my understanding is that it's usually around 30 to 40% for product, what you're raking in, and then you have about 30 to 40% of wages, and then you also have to take over overhead, a couple other things other than overhead. So you're not making a whole lot on top of that. So if you're raising the minimum wage, you have to account for that, and a lot of that inflation spills onto your supplies.
Yeah.
So you have no other choice but to raise the cost onto the consumers. And a lot of big corporations, they're not going to take that money out of the black. They're going to pass it on to the consumers. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find somebody out of the goodness of their heart, shareholders, saying, you know what, we'll take less money this quarter. It's not going to happen.
And that's what we saw with this pandemic was the
Mhm.
top corporations made money. They profited off of it,
Correct.
but they did not pass that on to the consumers. They kept that money in their pocket. They didn't
Mhm.
lower prices or
Yep.
anything.
You had a lot of big corporations out there that were making record numbers as far as profits. But I think a lot of the small mom and pops businesses are the ones that suffered, and a lot of the ones that closed down because of that. You know, I think that I don't know. You know, it's hard, and the people in our line of work to go into work at $20 an hour or whatever have you, and then know that minimal risk, less training, less qualifications going in, you can make 15-16 bucks an hour and do far less. It's kind of heartbreaking. But I think a lot of this has to go with the stimulus.
Yes.
You had families getting $5, $10, even $12, $13,000 in stimulus money, putting it in the bank.
$1,600.
You had the car market completely collapse under this. You had people going out and financing vehicles that they knowingly couldn't afford, and you had companies taking full advantage of people knowing they couldn't afford it, and you had repo possessions go through the roof.
But here's the thing too, is you never saw those repos. They never reported them.
Correct.
It's
Well,
like you can't get online.
not until now.
Yeah, and now.
Not until now.
You can't get online and try and find a repo card because they kept that.
Look at Carvana.
Are they on there now? Because
No,
I know
so
when I was looking for vehicles, I couldn't
Carvana's
find
underwater right now.
Yeah.
So the deal with Carvana is that they were paying people 20% over asking price, not inspecting vehicles, trying to flip them and then gain a profit on them.
Mhm.
And they were giving bad cars to people like you and I who were going out looking for a minivan for our family with a twisted chassis, or they weren't passing inspection. They were just falsifying these documents, so to speak, or whatever. But the car market was just a small part of that issue. The banks were trying to regulate a lot of this stuff when they were trying to control the repo car lots. They were only letting out 5% and then putting those on auction. I watched some YouTube videos where they're going out on Vegas, and it was a lot, and it took them an hour to drive this lot. And he said, this is only 5% of the repos from this quarter. An hour. They spent an hour driving the lot.
Wow.
Yes.
What was your
I'm just saying, like, as far as like during the whole COVID lockdown, I wouldn't even call it a COVID lockdown. I would call it a structured lockdown. Just due to the fact that all the corporations profited, and it's not just on them, blaming on the corporations gaining the assets of extra money going into their pockets, but it's just the once you're getting about $1,600 a month, you're gonna go ahead and try to buy yourself luxury instead of paying next rent, paying for food for your kids next month.
Especially rental for boats. Yes. You didn't have to pay rent. For a lot of people, didn't have to pay it.
So that's a lot of free money that's going to these big corporations, which was like, let's say, Coach purses, all the high luxury assets of it.
What you're saying is people weren't responsible with that stimulus
they
money.
They weren't responsible at all with their money as far as what they're going to spend.
And they were honest about
it. If you were getting about, let's say, 3 stimulus, I think it was about three stimulus for everybody, like as far as in the United States, they weren't being real calculated as far as investing that money for themselves, but instead they go ahead and let these corporations go ahead and gain all the profit of it because it's free money. If you're not paying rent, you're getting government assistance. You're not paying out of pocket. It's an extra $1,600 in your pocket, and you're gonna go ahead and just be free with it, But not only that, but I feel too, like, as far as like family-owned businesses collapse because they just don't have the money or the resources to go ahead and do a drive-through.
And they were told to shut the doors.
They were told to be
everything was told to lock
shut down. But they don't have the capability of having drive-throughs and an outdoor dining area. But you have McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Sonic, you name it. And these corporations can afford that stuff. They can afford a drive-through, an outside dining area, while local businesses, which are barely making it to survive, and you destroy them. So I feel it was, in my personal opinion, it was a structured lockdown for their own benefit of gain.
Going on that, I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit. Like you went from having dual incomes during this time to only down to one. How was that like for you? Like, I don't know what that's like.
It was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle for a while, but luckily I landed on my feet with that. I went from 6 figures to 5 figures.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a complete income, and I did struggle for a little bit. I tightened up. I would go grocery shopping once every 2 weeks, and I would spend $100.
I don't know how you do that.
Oh
my gosh.
It was just me.
Today, I bought a couple pizzas, like 2, dog food, the beverage for tonight. I spent $89.
I was real tight with my money.
I just don't understand.
I bought microwavable food, TV dinners. I did not buy anything else. I had my list. I made sure. I wasn't eating nutritious. It was crap food.
Convenience.
Yes, exactly. And It was cheap.
Yeah.
So a TV dinner would cost me like $2.
It's way less than buying
Yeah, and I don't have a family, so I didn't have to worry about nutrition because whatever goes in my body, I don't care.
Yeah.
I needed to survive.
Yeah.
So I was able to spend $100 for 2 weeks of food.
What was your grocery list like before when you were with your significant other?
We went grocery shopping every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Just kind of like on the spry meals.
That's a bad habit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And if we weren't grocery shopping every day, we were eating fast food every day.
Every day, man.
Every day.
If trying to find something in this town.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I
on a whole thing about
I
that.
gained a lot of weight
Mm-hmm.
doing that.
Yeah.
And when we broke up and I got down, I had to tighten my belt and eat as little as I could, just enough to survive. I lost 20 pounds right away.
Calorie deficit.
Yes, exactly.
Due to necessity, not want. Yeah. What would you say you were spending a month at Walmart or grocery store on groceries?
All right,
before?
So we have a coworker I used to talk to a lot. He's in a different department now, so I don't talk to him anymore. But we called Walmart the $100 store because every time you walk into Walmart, you're spending at least $100.
Easy. That's if you only have a couple kids.
Yes.
Easy.
So, when I was with my ex, we'd go in and we'd spend at least $100.
If I come out of there under $100, I didn't buy anything.
Exactly.
I bought some almond milk for my son and like maybe some lunch meat. I didn't buy any groceries for like actual dinners or nothing like that.
No, it's hard.
Yeah. No.
But that's what was good for me because I don't have any kids. All I had to do was provide for myself, and I didn't care what went into my body, just as long as I was able to sustain my calories. Keep going to work every day.
It's kind of hard.
But doing that, I disciplined myself, and now with that, I was able to save up enough money to get ahead of my bills, to have money in my savings account. I even bought myself a truck during that time.
Oh yeah, the F-150. I've never really looked at that yet.
Yeah,
I know you bought it. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So that was a splurge. I didn't need it, but I was feeling good about myself. I was happy with where I was at in my life. So I bought it so I can, I have a side-by-side so I could take that out.
Oh, you still have it?
I still have my side-by-side.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So I could take that out of town, pull it with that truck because my old 2001 F-250, I get maybe 8 miles a gallon. Yeah, but I love that truck. I've had that truck for almost 20 years.
One day it'll get a paint job.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
Alco. What about you, Nick? What I know that you coming from this dual income, whatever. How's that been for you?
the thing, like I didn't see too much of a difference because I don't know, it was just more like just survival mode, and I really didn't let that get to me. I just know I had to like step up and get my own place.
You're doing a lot more overtime.
Yeah,
I remember I used to harp on you with that.
Yeah. But see, like other than that, like it hasn't really been. It's a struggle, but it's not been like a struggle where it's like taxing and exhausting. You know, it's just you gotta do what you gotta do.
Grind.
Yeah. Like I
look at you.
Adapt.
This nice, beautiful new home. You know, coming back thinking about that. I just built a home.
It's beautiful,
and
it's big. It's huge.
It's not that big.
It's huge,
but it sure costs like it's that big.
You're fancy.
Yeah, we did an owner build, and that house probably cost me about $100,000 more than it should have.
Yeah, I believe it, especially because we did go through a time earlier this year and last year where lumber was scarce.
I mean,
and it just skyrocketed the price of lumber.
I bought it when it was down to around 900 per 1,000 feet. I know that if I would have waited probably about a month more, it probably would have been, about $10,000 less. But
what was your interest rate? Was it pretty good?
So I did.
You don't have to say numbers, but was it a good
I don't
deal?
mind. I did I got locked in at a 4.5 ARM for 7 years. Otherwise, it would have been over 6% for 30.
Oh, yeah.
The hope is that, like we're kind of living in that life right now. And that kind of goes into another thing is that like we're seeing some really crazy things go on. I don't know if you guys are aware, but we're seeing a lot of bank issues going on right now. A lot of big time banks around the world are failing. The next current one is supposed to be, I think it's Deutsche Bank. It's in Germany. It's number 22 ranked in the world, and it's speculative to go under very soon. And we've had a lot of I think we had like a number 8 bank of the Silicon Valley Bank failed. A lot of big things that are going on right now that have happened in 2008. So it's kind of scary,
Yeah, I did see that. I did get an email from my bank saying, "Hey, don't pull out your money. We're okay.
They're scared.
You're secured." Yeah, they're afraid.
They're terrified.
They're all scared. Yeah.
They don't have so do you understand why that is?
It's because the money you put in, they use it in stocks, and they don't have the money to pay you back if you try and pull it out.
Do you know where they put their money?
Where?
They put it in the freaking, what do you call them? I'm trying to think of the name right now. Got me off guard. But it's the bonds.
Yeah.
They put it on the small bonds. And so when the Fed fund rate decided to go up when they weren't projected to go up until after 2024, well, they started raising the rates in 2022. And so they hedged against it more or less, and that caused a collapse and people pulling the money. They didn't have the investments in there, the money to pull out. And here we are.
Maybe we should threaten them, hey, add an extra $10,000 to our account and we won't pull.
It doesn't work like that. So
if it did work that
the
way,
way that banks do it is they take your investment, your initial deposits. Well, they park that money. They don't leave it there. In order for you to get dividends and then they make money, they put it in what they call small bonds, and those usually procure over 10 years and so on and so forth. And that's how you get your dividends when you put money in savings and so on and so forth.
That's pretty much your interest.
Yeah, that's how you get a little bit of your money, and that's how they gain more money and they get interest on your money. And so
they give you like a percentage of that.
Yeah, but the bare minimum.
It's very small.
Like 1% or less.
It's not even 1%.
You just get bare minimum.
I put $110,000 in my savings when I sold my house. I think I ended up getting like $1 over like 4 months or something like that. It was next to nothing, dude. It was almost irrelevant at all. It was irrelevant. What am I talking about? But
but he had $1.
I was like, oh, dividends, $1.
No, I know, because whenever I get my bank statement, in my savings account, my dividends are like 33 cents.
If I don't even get that, like, what do you have? 1AZ?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even get that. I don't even know what it is, but it was kind of like, oh my God, could I imagine saving up 30 years and having $100,000 and really to only accumulate maybe like a couple $100.
Right.
It's so pathetic.
Am I the only one that think it's vicious where it's like AZ1? Like, we get paid on Saturday at midnight, which is Sunday, and all of Sunday, we can't pull any money. The money's not even in it.
I get paid Friday.
Yeah, they changed it.
I get paid Friday, like Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I
love it now.
Oh, yeah. They finally caught up.
I've never,
Checked on her.
It must be nice.
Paycheck to paycheck,
The money's
going
always
out.
there.
I was like, damn. I was like, I gotta be careful. And I was like, Saturday night, at midnight, I can spend as much as I want because I know.
Wait, are you with 1AZ?
Yeah, 1AZ.
You don't know that we went to on Fridays?
It's been like that for like a long, like a year.
It must be nice to have that kind of money in the bank and not worry about where your check's coming or when it's going to be there.
It's not a thing.
I have about 6 figures saved in my bank right now. Just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do you guys make it not making 6 figures? Like Rufino, I know your wife is working right now, so you guys are making probably 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have a new house with a higher interest rate.
Yeah. So my mortgage is just over $2,000 a month.
God,
I have one car payment. I thought I did the responsible thing by paying her car off, making sure that was paid off. It's a newer Durango. It's not too bad. But, like I feel like if I don't work at least one overtime every 2 weeks, I'm not in the hole, but I'm kind of holding on to just her paycheck.
Right. And you know what? And I think that's just the masculine part of us is that we want to provide so much to our family that
I pay everything.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Your check is one that pays everything.
All the bills.
Your money.
Her money.
Your money, and her money is her
so
money.
Her and I actually got into that like joint bank account. I think we were dating for like I think it was right after we found out we were having our first kid. I've always been like that kind of traditional, like work together. You know what I mean? Right, have your own account, mine account. If she wanted to have her own account, like I'd have been okay with it. Well, it was nothing I pressured her, but I made all the money. I mean, realistically, she made a few $100s every 2 weeks when we first got together. It wasn't a big deal. So it actually kind of benefited her in a way, just because I made more money and we didn't have any bills. You know what I mean? But it just feels so normal to just have our money together. We talk to each other. Like if I'm going to buy something, I'm like, generally I kind of go give her a heads up and she does the same thing. And it's never been an issue. We've never fought about money ever. I've told her like, hey, maybe take it easy. She's like, okay. Like it's never been like a big deal. Like we fight about other things, but money's not one of them. And that's a big core issue with a lot of relationships.
I think that's the number one reason why relationships fail is money.
And I don't want it to be us.
No, well, that's good.
That's like infidelity.
Just kidding. What about you, Eric? I mean, I know you have.
Well, right now, I don't. Right now, previously, I don't own a home. I have 3 vehicles I'm paying for, which is pretty much a mortgage.
You live in a shoebox, right?
No, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Just a room that I rent out, which is not much, because I rent from a friend. So right now, at the moment, it's affordable. I pay about, from 2 different baby mamas, about $1,500 a month, which is about what you would pay as far as the mortgage
and a car payment. Because I mean, I'm really, really blessed and really lucky that my house I'm paying $950 a month.
That is so good right now. Yeah. More rents are usually around $1,700-$1,800 a month. I'm charging $1,100 for my rental, and I feel bad about it.
And I'm so grateful for my landlords to keep me at that rate.
If I had the same renter, I would be at $900.
Yeah,
I was at $900 up until recently, until we bought we paid for our new house. So that is kudos to your land. To your landlords.
No, I'm so grateful for them. But then, like I said earlier, unfortunately, I did buy a truck, and that payment is a lot.
It's more than your house, I'm sure.
No, actually,
I mean,
I did really good. Interest rate, I bought it when the interest rates were high, and I still got
used or new.
It's used. I still got like a 5% interest rate, and I paid $38,000 for it. So my truck payment right now is $500 a month.
Wow, that sounds bad.
No, it's not bad. It's bad for me because I've never had a truck payment that high. But
I'll tell you about mine.
But I mean,
I'll tell you mine.
you also think that my first truck was that F-250 that I have. That payment was
Big Green,
$289.85 a month.
So I think
what about that truck?
You know, somebody actually, people making fun of a lady that paid for it was a 2002 Escort. She's paying $500 and something a month for it, and she's proud of it. She's proud of the car, her first car, blah blah blah. She's paying over $500 a month for this 2002 2004 Escort.
Wow.
Dude, it's made it rounds over social media. It's huge. Like, that's how much car rates are right now. It's freaking ridiculous.
That is crazy because my truck is a 2018 F-150.
I have a 2019 Ram, fully freaking loaded, all the bells and whistles. I got it right in the midst of 2020. It was like right at the end. I got it at a 3.75, 48,000 out the door. Out the door. It was 44, so it was 48 out the door. I pay $650 a month, and I'm like, this is the most I've ever paid for a vehicle. I'll never pay anymore. I can't get rid of that thing because I just can't make the money up anywhere else with the current rates of everything. Like you with your truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a newer truck. It's nice. It's got a lot of bells and whistles. It's not the newer model, but I mean, you're almost there, right?
It was new when I first purchased it.
But you're almost paid off, right? Almost.
Yeah, I say I'm pretty much paid off. Compared to, they wanted about $70,000 for it. I was able to finance it for $49,000.
I'd love to take you to the car dealership.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, so luckily, you know, I don't owe very much on it. I say about 17,000 left on it. Because I bought it in 2017. It was the new Tundra, the 2018 limited edition with the premium package. But as far as that, at the time I was paying about a little over 700, like 750. I would say it was like 740 something. And fortunately, I had to refinance, you know, because like right now, living as where we're at now, I'm paying child support, not just for one baby mama, but two baby mamas. So I'm paying about $1,500 for both. I'm paying about $933 for one. And
I feel guilty about eating a piece of bread.
Which is
no wonder you're so skinny.
Oh, I can't eat very much, you know, can't spoil myself. And then as far as my other baby mama, my oldest daughter's mom, I'm paying her a little over 500, like 560 something.
Wow.
So I'm paying about 1,000. I would say 1,500 about as far as being safe. But luckily, you know, when there's struggle and effort, you know, I have been blessed to have the opportunity to go ahead and get this promotion as far as a job, getting closer to both of my kids. I would say is about 50-50, maybe about like honestly 60-40, you know, to have more visitation time because I'm 3 hours away both ways with my daughter and my twin boys and my baby boy. So 3 boys and my daughter. But it is a struggle to go ahead and you know, try to keep the trait as far as being a man and the provider, and you know, just alone, just taking care of yourself. Because sometimes I second guess myself as far as like, is it worth going ahead and going out? Is it worth to buy the buy 2 get 1 free Monster drink? I might be like
every time.
I might be like a Monster promoter, but yeah, unless fucking Rockstar goes back to their old fashioned zero sugar one, because I used to always buy those off my those are good.
Pure Zero.
Yeah.
Pure
Well, they have a
OPUME.
they call it a throwback edition. So I don't know if you saw it there on the island.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, but but they brought it back, so it's back.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it is a struggle. But I'm hoping now that with these new opportunities with grinding and not giving up, and hopefully I'll be able to afford a home and call it a place where it's my own, because
Pursuing more.
like
man.
now I'm living with one of my friends' home, and a lot of times too I feel like I'm a burden being around there, or anybody's house that I spend. I like to have my own place where I can just sleep, fart, and not worry about like what anybody else is judging me about.
That's funny because my parents have been begging me to move back with them.
Really?
Yes. And I can't do it. I love having my own place.
How old is your mom and dad?
They're was it 58?
They love you. They love their son.
And 59. They're 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always asking, when are you going to move back in?
Yeah.
Just move back in already. But, it's hard because I love having my own place.
Oh my
I love
God.
walking around naked, just not having a care in the world, not having to worry about anything. I love my dad to death, but when I lived with him, every time I left the house, where are you going? What are you doing? When are you coming back?
Mhm.
It's like, I don't have to answer to anybody with my own place,
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you decide to go ahead and not wash the dishes right then and there,
It's all on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like nobody dirtied those dishes but you, and you have to face that fact. You're like, maybe the dogs dirtied some plates this week. I don't know. What about you, Nick? Like, you bought this beautiful house. You spent this money that bought the brand new house. Like, how was that? You're coming off your divorce, if you don't mind me saying it. You're kind of like, you're phoenixing out of the ashes of the old you and coming in to this new thing. And like, how freaking scary was this, man? Like,
he's definitely an inspiration, man.
Yes, and that's what I was gonna say. I respect you.
100%. I walked through this house before you moved in. Randa took us through it, and now she's like, "Yeah, this is." I was like, "Oh yeah, this is." She was saying like, "Oh, this is some of the things he chose," and I was like, "Oh, that's actually my buddy." She goes, "Oh, really? You know him?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, okay." You know what I mean? So I was like walking through it, and I'm like, "He's got, you picked out a lot of nice touches," and I thought this was really big for.
Hey, he told me if
this.
anything he could change was the person that was buying it.
Person that was buying it?
Yeah, Nikos.
What do you mean?
I'm just trying to light fire into the animosity that you guys have between each other.
Good. She's like,
No.
the person that's purchasing this home is a loser. No, she did.
But no,
and,
really.
and he was talking shit about your feelers too.
She said he walked in with white feelers. Can you believe it?
That is so 2007.
Gold chain and all, dog.
I think his car even had spinners.
Gross.
No. All joking aside, I do respect you.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, I couldn't wrap my mind around having a place like this, going through what you went through.
It wasn't easy. I would have to thank my mom. She was a huge blessing.
She buy the house for you?
No, for letting me stay at her house.
Yeah.
And of course,
Until you got back on your feet.
Yeah, I paid hers. I did some stuff for her with that, and I just saved. Did overtime and just saved. And when I got into this house, I got into no debt. Everything was paid for up front. All my furniture and the kids' bedroom sets, everything was just paid out of pocket.
Yeah,
and I would just say my mom was a huge blessing with that, and it's fortunate enough for me that I had my mom to help me out with that. Because other than that,
God bless the moms.
Yes,
Sure.
for
So-
sure, 100%.
Like what he was saying about like income, like how was that going from the dual income to now this? This house cost you more than your original house. It had to have.
Of course, yeah.
How was
Well,
that?
it's weird because it seemed like when it seemed like I was degressing, I was actually progressing because I was just moving up. I was getting paid more. I got I was getting raises, And then
Did you and your wife have different bank accounts, or did you have a single
it was the same.
bank account?
Dual.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, like to me, that would be like a big. I don't know.
But at
man,
the same
I'd be
time, though, I
scared.
wasn't paying as much that I had with her because she, you know, I gave her the house and the
Mhm.
furniture and all that. So I didn't have and she took a car. So
Mhm.
it's just the more money you make, the more money you're gonna spend. Like with you and
Correct.
your wife, you guys are together. You guys have dual income, so you guys gonna be paying
Correct.
on a bigger house,
Yep.
more vehicles.
You think you
So
could
it
take
kind
on
of
more bills?
Yeah. So
100%.
it just adds
Yeah.
up. You just got to be.
Shoot,
you know,
dude,
you
working
gotta
at
be
the
smart.
state, working $900 every 2 weeks. I feel like I had more money back then than I ever did now.
That is so true.
Oh my
because
gosh.
I remember working at the state, and yeah,
$980 a month or
The
every
thing
2 weeks.
is, though, like you don't want to live outside your means. You know what I mean?
No,
Because and that's the problem
with
that
making more money because
making
you
more money,
have
you
more
spend
means, so you
more.
want to,
Mm.
yeah. And that's like I said with that truck, I didn't need it, but it made me feel better. you
Yeah.
know?
It was a
Sometimes
step
you gotta
forward.
spoil yourself.
Yeah, exactly, because I mean I'm not a big splurger. I don't buy anything for myself at all ever, and that was one thing I did spend the extra money on.
But sometimes you take advantage of the right price at the right time.
Exactly.
You know, like what's going to happen if the big green truck breaks down? You know,
I still have my orange car.
well, nobody likes a guy that has too many cars.
You know, and that's the one thing I always had a problem with. I always had multiple vehicles.
How many times did you and I spend so much time
All right.
hunting vehicles back in like 2014, man?
Craigslist was
Craigslist,
bad.
man. We used to just like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And we just like vehicle shop the whole time on our
Funny
downtime.
Funny story is we bought a vehicle the same day
Yep.
in the same town.
Yep, El Paso.
El Paso.
Texas.
I bought my orange Taurus. He bought a white neon
A white neon SRT4.
SRT4.
Yep.
Yes,
Ooh.
we were probably
fancy.
in town at the same time buying the vehicles.
Yeah, we were working this, you know,
The same post. Same days
You
off.
guys could have used each other as far as like,
Dude, I didn't even know.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I didn't even know. Like, we were just like, literally every time we had a break, we would like pull up to each other and be like, hey, look at this car, look at this car. And then I don't even know how it happened, but we were just like, oh, hey, I bought this car. And he's like,
I bet you my dick's
I
bigger
bought
than your
this,
dick.
dude, like almost, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Yeah, you know, just kind of funny how the way things happened back then. Like, I feel like sometimes you just have too much time on your hands, and
Yes.
you and I shop for cars.
Yeah,
My
oh yeah,
wife
that's-
hates it. She hates that, dude. She's just like, I don't like when you were on this post because you would just have too much time on your hands. And I'm like, yeah,
that is true. I mean,
Life, and
but-
finance.
But you think about it, we could have worse hobbies than vehicles. You know.
oh,
like-
for
like-
sure,
like
I could be a
cocaine?
creep.
Yes.
Yeah, cocaine. That could be a bad one.
No, so what? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
no,
No, I was thinking about the cars.
That was like a punchline right there.
So, what?
You forgot the joke completely and just gave us the punchline. What were you gonna say?
What were you saying?
I forgot. Go ahead. Carry on.
No, you
Carry on. Carry on.
Yeah, good
But
music.
cars and guns
Mm.
are fun. It's sad that, like, you know, we could live in a shack, but as long as we have an appealing vehicle to kind of show off to your friends, like, look at my brand new fucking Hot Wheel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, my
You're
son
gonna go ahead and brag about it,
loads about his Hot Wheels.
or a gun, you know, a handgun coming to a fucking shotgun to a rifle.
Yeah.
You
You know
like-
what? I'm a big proponent of you know, firearms. Like I'm just mean like all for whoever wants to buy them. You know what I mean? I only have one gun. Like I have the MP2. It's what we shoot at work. You know what I mean? But I actually had it before we had it working, so it's kind of weird. I don't know that much about guns, and I'm just like I don't know what it is. It's like one of those.
I don't either.
undying
Just like
things
women,
that
I don't know
really-
much about women, but I like pulling that trigger.
Yeah, pull that trigger, get her, got her. You know,
No, yeah. And I don't know what. Like
they're
we all,
expensive too.
Yeah,
rounds.
Oh.
Oof. Have you bought 9mm rounds?
No, I don't have a 9mm. I have a 22, and
I
it's
do.
horrible.
It's crazy.
22s are a lot less expensive, I think, now than
Than the
a lot
nine.
of than the regular 9mm.
I went camping 2 years. Well, 1 year. The year before that, I didn't buy any more rounds because it's like what, $20 for a fucking 15 case of whatever shells, whatever 9mm.
It's pretty expensive. I think it's like somewhere around $27-$30 for a box of 50, something like that.
That is crazy.
I must have lucked out.
It's expensive. Yeah, I haven't bought some in a while.
About 2 or 3 cases, I think. And me and my daughter, we went ahead and.
Oh, that's cool. You took her out with you?
Yeah. Well, all my kids, I let them shoot.
Even a little one.
Yeah. No, not him.
He's like this, Dad, like this.
No, he was in the truck, fucking
little Liam.
Well, his hands were all dirty. So you see all these fucking handprints in my brand new Toyota that I baby. But it's cool. It's a reminder that, to have good things, they're gonna leave their marks.
Right. And you have to grind to keep your family going.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pull that overtime. You have to put in work.
Which is $70. Unfortunate though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, as far as like the law system, they always, as much as they say that they don't, but they take a lot of the female side. And I feel it cripples a man whenever you're trying to do 50-50 with your children, and you have a judge that dictates whether if you're, capable of doing it, just because you're living 3 hours away, and saying, no, you can get them every other weekend. And if you want them for the third weekend, you can go ahead and drive all the way up there for those 3 hours on a Friday when you get off work, pick them up, come back down, spend about a day and a half, because now it's Sunday, take them all the way back for another 3 hours up there and back. So that's 12 hours total of drive time, acting like fucking gas is still going at 65 cents a gallon.
$3.79.
You know what
Have you guys seen that?
I have not noticed.
Oh my gosh!
But that's just the tip of the iceberg, as far as what men go through, as far as being unfair to their rights with their children. And it sucks whenever you're having so much money deducted from you. You're no longer the fun parent. It cripples you as a man, as a father figure, because now you're not the fun parent. You don't have Wi-Fi because you can't afford it. You can't take them to Disneyland, Legoland, Six Flags. You name these parks. You can't afford it anymore because mom's getting all this money. You're living in a shack. You don't have the cool house or the cool car anymore, because now your priority is to go ahead and to provide for your kids, is to give pretty much, I say, more than a quarter of what of your income is.
Yeah, it's most of your disposable income
is going towards her. So she looks like the super mom, while you look like the bum dad. And of course, they're gonna always want to go to mom because she has Wi-Fi. Even though you go ahead and buy them laptops and Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5s. Where we're at to date now, they have all the access as far as mom's house to log into all their fun games and whatever you want to call it. She can go ahead and take them to Disneyland, but you're over here still, you as a man, you're just thinking, okay, as long as I put food in their belly, they're going to respect me. Mm-hmm. No, I've dealt with it before too, where they no longer want to talk to dad. They no longer want to communicate with dad. They don't want to Skype with dad because I'm boring. And they have a whole setup in their room at their mom's house. They have a little Walmart going on where they have all these extra toys and unopened toys that they have there because mom buys it for them, right? And when they come to my house, I have to be the hard parent. I have to be the one showing them, whenever I talk to you, it's not what it's mande or like yes sir, yes ma'am, depending, with my girlfriend, I want to have discipline as far as like expressing
You're trying to have them show that respect.
yeah, respect, and they hate me for that. But then you have a mom that doesn't hit them. I want to say hit them because that can go anyway, but as far as spanking them, disciplining them, and grounding them, or something simple as far as putting them to a corner. And it becomes even more difficult because you never have the judge, the mediator. I would even say your lawyers on your side, because all they want is the fucking money that comes with it. Mm-hmm. But you struggle to go ahead and try to keep up with these demands that you need to pay so and so this much money, and then you're still expected to live a high life, and once you're involved with the kids, especially when it's long distance like this, which wasn't like anybody's fault. You know what I mean? Like as far as like I'm not the only one that deals with this. There's multiple people that's dealt with this as far as long distance relationships, and it's a hard world, man, for a man to make a life with their child, but then still trying to have fun with their friends, because you got to sacrifice. Like, am I going to spend money to go ahead and go out with my friends, or am I going to spend money to go ahead and save months just to take them for a highlight for Disneyland, to at least compete with my ex that's trying to still fight for full custody and convincing the kids to basically go against you. Because I've had it before where the kids are saying they don't want to go with me. They just want to stay with mom. They don't want to go with me. And they've never been like that until now that they're at a certain age where I feel like they're being manipulated. And even my kids too, they've told me that they had a certain individual tell them that they can't come. I was like, who? And then my twin, my son's twin got in the way and was like, shh, tell him not to say anything. So I never got down to it to know who exactly is
like. I feel like a second-rate parent, dude. Like,
but
father's rights or
I kind of think like I know what you're coming from, but I wouldn't even take it as competing, because like I know what you're saying, but like I think that's just something you have to work through. But you get to a point where you're just like, this is my life. I'm going to do what I'm going to do with my kids on my time. I don't give two F's what they do over there. If they do something great and grand, good for you. Mm-hmm. But this is what I'm doing. This is what I can do. And the biggest thing is just being there for them. Mm-hmm. Because you could have all the money you want and take them and do grand things with them. But what they're going to really remember is who's there for them at the end of the day, and who's going to have their back, and who's going to love them, and not just... I'm not saying on my part, I'm not saying the mom doesn't do that, but I'm saying but as for me, this is what I'm going to do. Like, what she does is what she does. What I do, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't even think about even competing, because you will just rack your brain, know.
But then too, she does have an advantage if, let's say, we're both competing for the same love, but she's getting half of my assets going towards her to be the prime mom.
Disadvantage.
Yeah. And then like now I don't have a home. I'm struggling to have a home for them to feel like they have their own room. They don't have their own room.
But the thing is, though, you could have had all that, but you were supporting them. You sacrificed for them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
But they don't.
But
unfortunately, but the thing is, it doesn't care if she sees that or not see that. You know what you did. Yeah. You know what, and that's
the kids.
Here's a problem.
And the kids they're young.
That. They're young right now. They don't see that. Yeah, exactly.
They see what's in front of them. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times my kids just like literally fight over the same thing because of color. Like, I have two girls that are really close together. Kids are so... It's right here. Whatever's right in front of them. I mean, your girls may be beyond some of that stage, like they're very good girls. And stuff
But
like
the
that.
thing at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they even see it or not. You know,
No.
you see it. You know, you're the one racking your brain. You know, it doesn't matter if they see it or not.
Yeah,
You know,
it does matter to the point because you don't feel appreciated if they don't see it.
it's hard. I'm sure,
and especially if you're living 3 hours away. Like I can't do like 1 week on, 1 week off.
Mhm.
Like I have to drive over there every other weekend if I want it for the third weekend, which is only March, July, August or September. One of them I have to go over there. I'll drive the 3 hours up there to them for the third weekend and back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, like them like saying that they don't want to be with dad and having like I don't know if it's her. I hope it's not her. But I don't know, even like her grandma and shit, like whenever I'm Skyping them and like the kids are just being kids, they're like showing everybody off, you know, like look. And the grandma's like get them away from me. I don't want to see that shit, you know, like in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already marking me like I'm the bad guy, and I've never, like, even with my daughter and them, I've never told them like fuck your mom or this is why it didn't work out.
I never disrespected them.
I've never, because I'm hoping once they're of age they realize that I've never
make their opinion.
Made them go against their mom, so they might have some respect to me. But as far as like in the court of law, it sucks because if they're like influence and believe that they should be with the mom and the fun places with their mom, they're never going to want to be with me, especially when they're at the age of 13, 16, depending on what state you're at. You can decide to go ahead and live with a primary parent, and now I have no visitation time. And then even with the promotion and everything, even if they saw the effort of me getting closer to my kids to try to spend 50-50, they won't consider that and go ahead, and I would have to pay the wages from the child support standard.
Mm. You know, it's financially strapping. Like, I don't know how you do it, man.
But then there's you know, and it sucks because it seems like people, men that want to be a father figure and be there for their kids are kind of shit on through the law system, through the, you know, the whole child support system. But then you have motherfuckers that impregnate women, are fucking gangbangers, and being coked out, don't want nothing to do or don't want to be involved with their children. But then somehow they get fucking lucky where the mom doesn't pursue them for child support. But once they know that they have a good job, they're stable, they have a fucking right mind, they want to be involved with the kids, and then they are, you know, pulling strings to fucking
get a dime.
And you know, and this all pretty much, how do you say this? It comes full circle with everything we've talked about. Is in today's age, we need 2 incomes to survive,
For real.
which is fueling that toxic femininity, even though that's really not a term.
I would love for my wife to be able to stay home.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it for her.
So, I mean, unfortunately, that's not what we live in today.
Nope.
You know,
We barely make it.
we barely make it.
But we asked for some of that stuff, but we barely make it.
So, like I was saying, you know, it's just hard for us to make it nowadays with 1 income.
How does the average American family, you know, we don't even live in a high locality. How do people make it doing what we do in other states where
That's a good question. I wouldn't know.
They kind of go off of cost of living.
cost of living you're only increasing only so much
here?
much.
I think we're normal here.
Yeah, I want to say, like, you know, our pay goes up to what, 70, almost 70.
Yeah,
for our
Well,
position.
our cost of living is the same as Tucson, and Tucson has,
Correct.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
So like California, I think it's somewhere around 85, and I think that's not even close to touching where they need to be.
yeah. So I don't. It's just like I said, one of those things that I think that's fueling the toxic femininity. Even though that's not really a term they're using, but
Dog eat dog world.
it is. It's rough out there for us men because our income
It validates us.
It does. It does.
It sucks because my kids won't remember what I made.
No.
They don't know the dollar amount. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you almost had me in freaking tears, man. I was just like, I can't imagine like having to manage my time with my kids and having that same situation based off what I make. It's not enough. I don't know. I'm just like, ugh, stop talking about it.
And that concludes this episode of the Midnight Sages podcast. I hope you enjoyed that midnight ride. This is Ruben.
This is Wade.
This is Nick.
And until next time, be safe out there.